Stand. Do a silent prayer, please. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, board member, District 1. District 2.
Present.
District 3, present. District 4. District 5.
Present.
District 6. District 7. District 8.
Present.
In the new business. No new business. Item A, adopt agenda. Motion to adopt agenda.
I move we adopt the agenda as written. Second.
Been moved by Ms. Hargrave, second by Ms. Hamilton, that we adopt agenda for the meeting tonight. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item B, approve bills and payment. You didn't get one? You don't have your packet.
I didn't get one.
Anybody?
The only thing I got out of my closet was this right here. Right here. In my closet.
Pass through it.
I make a motion that we adopt the bills of payment if there's no questions.
I need to ask a question. The date on this payroll clearing is back in May, June. Why is it May and June? And we're in October.
Pardon me?
On payroll. Where it says payroll clearing. Right here. Oh, this is payroll clearing. This is in March.
These pulled in from payroll, I'm not sure why. That's not normally on your report, so, that's just payments. What payroll clearing is when vendors are paid, that's things deducted from employees' been paid out. I know that,
It's a little bit.
yeah, but, this is something that's done following each payroll. That should not be in there, I don't know. When I looked at the detailed reports that, Ms. Bellett had prepared for actual payment, it did not include that. I think that's just something that was pulled from March, because it happened in March, since it's in the general ledger in March. For some reason, yeah, for some reason, it got pulled into the report, I don't know. But that's what that is.
Was there a reason we didn't get a hard copy of our packet? Because we don't have anything on the agenda.
I don't know, Shaquila does the packets, the athletic stipends I've got to hand out to you because there was some debate going back and forth about them. The resolution for, the e-payment, I was waiting to get in from the State Department, but I got copies of that for you too. And I'm gonna explain that when we get to those
That's
items.
the only thing I had on my email, was the you.
And that was emailed to you today, Friday.
I didn't have an agenda and I did not have any other.
I put everybody in the same thread.
Huh?
Everybody was in the same thread.
Everybody would.
And
No,
you got
this-
your packet with yours?
This was handed out to me with here. I did not get that by email.
You have a whole packet?
This is the only thing I got on my email.
You know, I came up and picked up our package. I didn't have time enough to bring everybody else's package, cause I was at work. So on my break, I was close to Miss Hamilton, and but the package was up at the office.
I didn't get one.
So I mean, it's hard to
Huh?
not visually looking at all of this that's on here, just hearing about it.
Any more discussion on the bill for payment? We got a motion from, Ms. Hamilton, could I get a second? Okay, motion by Ms. Hamilton, second by Mr. Patterson. Do we have any discussion from the audience? No discussion from the audience. All in favor, say aye. All in favor, say aye. Thank you. Item C, approve the minutes of the public hearing regular board meeting of September 15, 2025, and the special board meeting October 2nd, 2025.
Motion to approve the, special board meeting and the public hearing. September 15th and October 2nd.
Any discussion from the board, been moved by Ms. Guthrie, second by Mr. Patterson. Any discussion from the board? Any discussion from the audience? All in favor, say aye. Item D, discuss and consider to approve the student handbook 2025 and 2026.
Mr. President, Mr. Geis told me this afternoon that the handbook, Mr. Sills has completed the handbook, and John will be emailing that to the board members this week, and he asked that this matter to be carried to you next week. We will get that to y'all by email.
A motion to table. item D. Motion to table.
Motion to table,
Okay. It's been moved by Mr. Powell, second by Mr. Goodwin, that we table item D in the discussion. All in favor, say aye. Adopt resolution providing showing the not exceeding $2,500,000 revenue anticipation note. Item E. You want to discuss it?
Yes.
Good evening. I'm Bill Bowles of the Wilson Bowles Chapter, bond counsel for the school board. Well, the resolution, not sure there was some mix up, but the resolution that you're to consider is a resolution that authorizes the school board to borrow up to $2.5 million from Capital One. Mr. Shafter and I went to the bond commission last week and we got approval for this. They're obligated, and we have a letter of commitment from Capital One to lend. They reviewed, and we're in the process of getting this done at the last minute. The fund on the day after tomorrow, on the 23rd, up to $2.5 million, and the rate is 4.85%, and it's due a year from now, November 20 of 2026, a little over a year from when we issue it. And so the initial drawdown will be on the 23rd, and that'll be a $1.5 million, and the rest of it will come as Ms. Debbie needs that, and y'all approve the payments. You want to speak to that?
Sure. What we've done is a 1-year repayment, but we have a 5-year commitment from Capital One. So rather than have a 1 5-year term for the repayment, is gonna be 5 separate 1-year terms. The first term will pay interest only. From that point forward, the following years, ensuing years, we'll do a principal and interest payment. So we'll each year actually reduce the principal also until it's fully paid out in the year 2031. Of course, if we're able to pay that earlier, we'll certainly do that. And we're actually getting $1.5 million on the 23rd, and then we won't make another drawing until we come back to the board, express the need. The board will have an opportunity to discuss that before we go back for another draw.
Don't have any questions?
Any discussions on the board? Can I get a motion to approve, adopt item E?
I make a motion that we, adopt the resolution providing for the insurance issuance of not to exceed 2.5 for the revenue anticipation note.
Been moved by Ms. Crawford, second by Ms. Hamilton, that we adopt item E in the discussion from the audience. All in favor? Thank you.
Thank you.
Item F, consider a motion to adopt the resolution withdrawing education excellence from the Madison Parish School District account with state treasury.
Okay, this resolution is to withdraw the remainder of the EEF, or the tobacco funds, from the state treasury. We have built into the title budget about $62,000, which includes what we would normally get from the EEF dollars, plus this additional amount that we're asking for today which is $33,981. That will deplete the EEF funds for Madison Parish, which basically, they're gonna allow school boards to fully do that next year, but they, actually, it's gonna happen for everyone next year, whether they choose to or not. But they've notified everyone they could draw it down this year. So we chose to do that. So if that needs your approval, we'll go ahead with this resolution tonight, which is for $33,981 again. And it'll be added to the amount that we're already getting, up to $62,000, which will cover technology, and some additional things that Title I has built into their budget.
Any discussion from the board?
So we're getting this amount, there, would they have to cover not doing any more rips then? You know?
Well, we hope so, we don't know. No commitment.
Any discussion from the public? Can I get a motion and second? Item,
Make a motion that we, adopt a resolution withdrawing the EEF funds, to go ahead and deplete our account, from this treasury, state treasury.
I second.
been moved by Ms. Crawford, second by Ms. Howard. Any discussion from the audience again? All in favor, say aye. Item G, consider approve a one-time stipend in accordance with the director of the LDOE to employment eligible that was employed on October 1st, 2025, to be dispersed on October 31st, 2025.
This is the one-time stipend, the CSS stipend that the state has provided. We've chosen a date of October 31st to pay it out, and it will include any employee that is eligible under the directives of the state of Louisiana that is employed as of October 1st. So if you left before October 1st, you won't receive it. If you were actually still employed on the books as of October 1, you will.
Any questions from the board? Discussion from the board? Any discussion from the audience?
Yes. Will the monitors be included in this?
The monitors will be included. It is at a reduced amount like you got last year.
Okay, thank you.
Can I get a motion?
I motion to approve the, reimbursement October 31st.
It's been moved by, Ms. Guthrie, second by Mr. Patterson.
Correction, the first, October 31st.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It's been moved by Ms. Guthrie, second by Mr. Patterson, that we approve item G. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Item H, consider to approve the senior trip to Orlando, Florida, April 29th, May 2nd, 26th. All costs to be paid by students.
So this is for next year.
Yes, ma'am.
At the end of
Discussion from
this
yes,
year.
ma'am.
Huh?
At the end of the school year.
Okay, right, next spring.
Yeah. Our motion's on students, right?
How are they gonna get there?
Dr. Rebel, he's here. Come up for a minute, Dr. Rebel, and he can explain. Is that okay, then?
Chief, Assistant President, also members of the board. Coming around is a packet that gives all the details regarding the senior trip. The first question that was asked, how would scholars get there? If approved, we will use Mayo Tours. The cost of that bus is right at $11,000 and some change. Of course, that contract is also in your packet. Additionally, as the item suggests, all scholars will pay for this trip. And so it was divvied up in 4 payments. Total is $600 per scholar. Right now, we have approximately 37 scholars that have signed up and have paid the initial $150 deposit, because for us to save the spot at Grad Bash, we did have to send down a deposit of $1,500. So in order to do that, we did have to, unfortunately, get them to reserve a seat. And that was done at $150, which was, the first payment was back September. Second payment was due October 9th. I want to say that was during our fall break, so we had to push that back some. And we do have additional payments that will be paid in December and January. There is a cost of about $7,000 that seniors will be responsible for fundraising. In addition to their out-of-pocket payment, they will be fundraising the remainder $7,000 and some change.
Are they traveling there?
Mayo Tours.
Oh, okay.
Yes, ma'am. So if you look at, I think the last page, you should see a contract with Mayo Tours.
So that's a bus?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Also, you'll see an itinerary, and you'll see a contract that parents, guardians had to sign. So of course, we wanted to make certain that there were some safeguards in there. It's also understood there was a parent meeting held in the event that scholars unfortunately behave incorrigibly. They will forfeit their right for graduation. So just trying to put a little meat into making sure that they know how to act while off campus.
Dr. Brown, one question. If they forfeit their trip and they mess up, there's no refund?
No, sir. Unfortunately, like I shared, we had to send down a deposit of $1,500. Of course, that money is non-refundable to us. However, if there is a student that actually purchases a seat, we will then look at refunding, monies back to a parent or guardian. Just trying to be all fair.
Any more questions from the board to?
Are the seniors, they're out of school by April 29th?
So their last day is actually May 2nd, but when we looked at our calendar, we made certain that all senior responsibilities, 9-week exams, end of course exams, all of that will actually be done the week prior to them actually going on the senior trip. So they would not miss out on any seat time, because of course with the new requirements from the Department of Ed, if they miss out on that seat time, they won't get a carnegie unit. So all of that was taken into consideration.
I make a motion that the senior be able to go on the trip to Orlando, Florida, April 29th to May 2nd, 2026. All costs paid by the students.
And moved by Ms. Hamilton, second by Ms. Cuddy. There'll be, any discussion from, the audience? All in favor, say aye. Thank you, Dr. Brown.
Thank you
I
all.
appreciate you doing this. Yes.
Thank you.
I want to ask the board, can we move item J? Can I get a motion and second that we move item J and move item L, K and L, and make item J last on the agenda. I want to move item J last on the agenda. Item J will be one. Item L be, and K will go up to item J.
Well, I motion that we move item J to the end.
Can I get a second?
Second.
And moved by Ms. Fletcher, second by Ms. Hamilton. discussion from the audience? All in favor, say aye. All right. Item I, consider to call a special board meeting for November 10th, 2025. The ad, you know how you work on your drama and your speech when you preach, like Shack, Rack, Meat Shack. I've been working on it, how y'all pronounce it, Tallulah tax. Tallulah tax. Yeah, so, that item. I'm glad I got a teacher at home that needs help with something. All right.
I would just mention that the purpose for that meeting is the prescriptive times have run for the advertisements, and that's to roll forward our tax revenue, which will mean about $63,000 extra dollars to the general fund. So we'll need to have that meeting in order to finalize that.
Any discussion from the board? And discussion from the public? Can I get a motion?
I move that we consider special board meeting for November the 10th, 2025 for the ad valorem tax.
Moved by Ms. Hargrave. Second by Ms. Patterson, Board Member Patterson. Any other discussion from the audience? All in favor, say aye. Item K. Allow the fiscal administrator to receive board input on the following items. Athletic stipend, review updated by, that'll be next item.
Okay, these out to you. I think Dr. Butler's gonna discuss it with you.
That's all I got.
Thank you. Board member, as you look at the stipends, we ask you to look at it, as you look at it, we're not voting on it tonight. She'll go back and look at the adjustment.
We're looking at them,
For tonight, she explained to
And provide any discussion that you might have about them. And then I think Dr. Butler had some things that he was gonna add to the discussion.
Yes, my main thing I wanna add, Dr. Rebels, can you come up and explain some concerns that came about with a couple of the sports, not being played? Can you share comments on that?
Any sports in particular?
Softball, soccer.
Okay. So the first sport, softball, we actually played 8 games. I was there to see many of them. Unfortunately, we didn't win any. We tied, I wanna say, with Lincoln Prep.
Lincoln Prep.
But we did play, 8 games with softball. With baseball, we had 2 that we, played that was Fairview, Rayville. 3 were rained out. Of course, all district games have to be played. And so the 3 games that were rained out were district games, and we were unable to, reschedule. One of the games, we didn't play. It wasn't a forfeit, but we didn't play. There was a scheduling conflict. So there would have been 6 games on the book for, baseball. As far as soccer, we did play, 2 games, in, Monroe at OCS. As a matter of fact, funny story, it's not funny, but it cost the district some money. The bus driver was actually trying to turn around on the field, and she actually got stuck. So the district office actually ended up paying a tow bill for a bus getting stuck in Monroe doing a soccer game. What other sport?
Ms. Rubber, Dr. Rubber, can you explain this summer? I think me and Dr. Bowler was at your school, and you were explaining about what you wanted to do to, why you had coaches moved around, and you wanted somebody specific for baseball, so you can start early than what you started. Remember you told us, I told that, you tell it.
So at the end of the school year, last year, 24-25, I actually met with all of the coaches, in an effort to streamline, coaches. And so, for example, there was one coach that was an assistant basketball coach, that was moved, strategically to baseball. Because again, we wanted to make certain that we were able to compete just as, other programs would. So, in meeting with those coaches, they understood that, if we were unable to compete or could not or would not compete, we would look at, removing those sports from our roster. There was an email sent from the assistant executive director, Mr. Federico, that says the deadline to have done so for this season would have been September 15th. However, we're moving forward with all sports for this season, and as I shared, if we don't compete like the expectation, we will then look at removing sports from our roster.
Lawyer, attorney,
Yes, sir.
do Title IX say, correct me if I'm wrong or right, from Title IX, we have enough participation for any sports, say like baseball, have to have 9 players. If we have 9 players, see able to play baseball. If it's in it, that we'll deny the students if we financially able, or we deny the student if we are financially able to have the sports, but we say we cut it, and we got 9, 10 players, and we in violation with Title IX.
Well, Reverend Cotton, and this was a bit off the cuff for me, but Title IX primarily deals with offering equal opportunity to students in extracurricular activities. And you typically see it more in the context of offering equal opportunities for young ladies to participate in sports and you run into the problem, of course, the football team involves so many students that you want to provide equal opportunities for the young ladies.
Okay.
So I hate to admit this, but I can't tell you that whether Title IX requires you to have a baseball team if you have 9 willing. I would be more concerned as if you had on the female side.
Okay.
So
It's softball.
yes.
Go ahead.
To actually answer your question, that's the email that's coming around, and it actually shows that if we were to have gotten rid of a sport, whether it was softball, track, baseball, football, whatever it may be, The deadline to have done so was September 15th. So if we were to cancel a sport today, tomorrow, next week, we would be in violation of LHSAA, and we would actually end up putting out more money than we would on the saving end. So for example, if we were looking at getting rid of, let's say, softball, you're looking at a coach with a stipend of about $3,000, between $1,650 and $3,000. So once we're penalized, the school would end up paying more than that stipend that we're saving, if that makes sense. And so that's just an email from the assistant executive director saying that the deadline to have removed those sports was September 15th.
Okay, I have a question. Assistant boys coach, 3? I think it's too many assistant coaches for basketball. With now the students that we have, we got a head coach and 3 assistants. I think that's a bit much.
So the coaches that you see
So we
outlined,
can eliminate some of the coaches.
the coaches.
Keep the game,
I'm sorry,
okay.
Go on.
Keep the basketball, but we can eliminate some of the coaches. Because having 3 coaches and a coach and 3 coaches, that's a bit much. With, not just with our financial status that we are in right now. I think if we gotta do some cutbacks, we gotta cut back everywhere. And having 3 coaches, and it's to be announced coach and to be determined, we need to know who's gonna be there. Because if we're gonna okay this, and then you go back and give this money to somebody else, that I don't think should have gotten it, but it ain't for me to say. But I think all the to be determined, all that, if you all got all these other people in line, I feel like head girls soccer, all this should be in line. If we're gonna say we're gonna play soccer, we need a coach. So we need to name that coach before we approve this.
So those TBDs or TBAs, they were just there as placeholders. Now, if the board decides to, get rid of the TBDs, that's totally understandable. However, when you look at the number of coaches that are listed on that document, all of that is to be in compliance with LHSAA. So they say, and when I say they, LHSAA says you can have a total of 30 coaches. Of that 30 coaches, they tell you you can have up to 5 per sport. So that's why you see basketball with X number of coaches, football with X number of coaches, and the like. And so again, those TVs, they are there just as a placeholder. Once it's approved, we're not gonna go back and say Rebel's gonna get 1,650. It's just a placeholder. So next year, whatever that dollar amount is for the budget, it's there instead of us taking those TBDs off and it goes down to, let's say, 75,000.
Okay, so, the TBD's assistant softball, so we have assistant softball, that person gonna get paid, right?
So the assistant softball coach that is listed is actually the girls' head. Man,
It's not listed, that's why I'm asking. It's got to be determined.
so if you look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, if you look at the 7th name, you'll see that that person is actually the head girls basketball / assistant softball coach. Now what you're looking at is the TBD head girls. So that's just a placeholder.
See right here. Yes, she's on there listed, why is that there?
Right.
Softball.
So that would be the 2nd or 3rd assistant, if you follow me, because you can have up to 5 assistant
Up
coaches.
to, but we don't have
That's
to
correct.
have
And so the only person that's listed is actually the 7th person
I see that.
that's getting that yes ma'am. So that TBD is just a placeholder. So,
So we don't even have to pay that.
no, that's correct. That's just it. That's just it.
Why is it that we have, 3 assistant boys basketball coaches? And 2 of them are being paid $3,000 each, and one of them's being paid $1,650. Why is that?
a certain amount of money.
That's what I'm saying, so why do we need all these assistant basketballs, basketball?
Do we really need that third one? I'm just asking.
I would say yes, because again, going back to LHSA 8 compliance.
It said we can have up to five,
Up
it
to
didn't say we need 4, 5.
How many children do we have playing basketball, boys basketball?
Right about 15 that are dressed, and so
How many?
it's about 15 that dress, and so one of your assistants actually is the coach of the JV team. So that person that's at 1650 is actually your JV coach.
You have three, basketball, just like with, high school. You can have an 8th grade football team that be playing in 9th grade. Basketball, you got an 8th grade basketball team, because team play 9th grade. Then you got a JV basketball team. Then you got a high school basketball team. Majority of kids that play 9th and JV do not play high school. That's over 30 players.
So JV and 9th graders and JV is the same thing?
No.
But they play the game, but 9th graders playing JV, they playing JV. We don't have any 9th grade games, it's just all 9th grade. It's JV,
So there are 3 games that are played. JV plays first, typically about 5 o'clock. Then the girls play at 6, and then the varsity boys play at 7.
so that's what I'm saying, so when you say 9th graders and JV, they the same thing.
They're the same thing, yes, ma'am.
But 9th grader, when they have 9th graders be on, now they don't, start putting with Dr. Butler tell you, only 9th graders will play.
So that's still JV though?
They go games on, they have
What I'm
games
saying is
scheduled.
JV though?
Yeah, they do it, but it's still over 30 players. And see, when you got 15, and you have over 30 kids in that gym, because you don't cut them. Some that on the roster that may not make the team, then when they get in trouble, you feel that one in. And if y'all go back and look at the budget years ago, what we're doing, and you look at it, go back and look at your athletic budget years ago, and from 26 to 2010, 10 to 15 when I was on the board, where y'all got girls, and this is how they done cut the budget, because they cut it 2-3 years ago like this. Where you got the girl coach and a boy head basketball coach making $8,500. Now, do y'all know what y'all making them people do? Y'all make because of the budget cut. Y'all making them people go back out there and work for free. I'm finna show you how it is. The girl basketball and the assistant softball coach is the head girl basketball coach.
I mean,
Okay.
she's making $8,500, so that.
But the $8,500 is only for head coach.
No, cause you got.
I'm telling you, it was changed. It was changed because they had took the budget from the old thing. You cannot go out and make a person say, I'm a coach, head girl basketball coach, but I'm gonna go out here and be the assistant softball coach, and the head coach don't participate and may be out. But that assistant coach is not getting paid for that position.
No. If they.
That's where the budget used to be.
Okay, that's why it used to be, but you got head football, girls track, it's $8,500. If she's doing head girls basketball and assistant soccer, that's $8,500. So what they doing is splitting, okay, say you get $6,000 for the head coach, and you get $2,500 for assistant coach. So they're putting that amount together, it's $8,500. So she's not, or he's not being
When
there paying for nothing.
they hired, when Dr. Butler, you can tell, when they hired the head basketball coach, the salary was $8,500 for head basketball coach. When we hired the head girls and boys basketball, it's 4 people get $8,500. That's the head basketball coach, the head girl coach, the head football coach, and the band director. That was already in the budget. And when, and Debbie, you know now, you'll look and see. When you look at the budget, and you go back, and that's what Ms. Debbie coming back to have us discuss so she can make the final decision. What we just discussing it. When you look at the whole salary, this budget here, and you look at it, it's 112, and one got 123. Now go back and pull it up 2 years ago. You know what that little budget was? $160,000.
We had money then, we don't have.
I ain't saying that it's all great. No, I'm not talking about that money. I'm telling you that when we get to the point, it's just a discussion because she's gonna make the final decision. When you get to the point, and I'm talking not just head basketball, I'm talking about all the people that's out there participating with these kids. You're gonna have no coaches. And then you have no program.
Well, I think one of the things, if y'all just bear with me just a second, I don't mean to interrupt you, is if you go up just a few items that we just voted on, a $2.5 million loan, because we don't have any funds. I love basketball. I love football. I love cheerleaders and drill team, and a good band makes it perfect. But listen, we just made a $2.5 million loan. This is too much, and you need to be prepared for cuts. And it's not that anybody wants to cut programs for kids, but it is what it is. And we're trying to cover paying teachers in our classrooms, which is the main reason we're here, for students being educated. Now, and I've always been a proponent, there's an education on a basketball court. There's discipline, there's teamwork, you know, but there's excess in here. And just real quick Google, you said, and just correct me if I'm wrong, we played 8 softball games, 6 baseball games, and 2 soccer games?
Right.
So a local school, their schedule was 18 games, softball, we played 8. Local school, baseball, 30 games, we played 6. A soccer team, I had to go to Monroe, soccer. On their schedule was 20 games, and we played 2. So we're not meeting the schedules to have such a, you know, all these extra stipends, and that's, you know, and I don't want anybody to lose their extra stipends, and I don't want programs to go, but it is what it is. Last month we had the task of, there were people who lost their jobs. So, you know, you go back up to that $2.5 million loan. If we didn't have that loan, and if it was 2 years ago when we were in the land of milk and honey of the ESSER funds, and we had wiggle room to spend as much as we could, which is why we're in this, is we spent way too much money beyond our capacity to maintain. That's why we're in this problem. And the people who are gonna suffer are students.
And boy, it's just a discussion, it wasn't nothing, different, it's just a discussion. Okay.
The question was, is everyone on the list in voting position? So we do have, I wanna say, 3 persons that may be non-faculty. So my only concern would be, if there were to be cuts, you know, we would have to be, across the board. We just finished, or is in the process of finishing up a football season. And those persons have, been out, they've coached,
They've done the work.
they've gone up and down the road. And so if I'm going to look at cutting, I'm gonna throw out soccer, and we could have, made some cuts on football as well. I just wanna make certain that we're being fair and we're being consistent. Because, again, persons have already done the work, and then, we may consider cutting the stipend, if that makes sense.
Dr. Rebel, Ms. Debbie did bring it up, we discussed it.
Okay.
But she said football season was already in the process.
Correct.
Yeah, and Paul, we discussed that part. because the football season was already in process, and it wouldn't be fair if she decides, because it's gonna be her to bring it to Dr. Butler, decide if we do need cuts or we don't need cuts, but it's on her decision to make.
Thank you, Dr. Rebels. We just wanted you to come up and share.
Thank you.
And Debbie, she has done some comparisons, and, you know, I've assisted her in that area, so we will, you know, be letting you guys know. Just discussion. Thank you.
Another discussion from the audience? Okay, now we'll receive, update from the fiscal administrator.
Just a few things, we'll make it quick tonight, that I wanted to update you on. First, I want to talk about the, reimbursement schedule for the repayment of the money that the general fund owes to the school food service program. Supposed to make $25,000 per month payments. We began that in July. We also are scheduled to make a February 1, 2026, and a February 1, 2027 payment in the amount of $137,500 each. Excuse me. And that is to come out of the ad valorem taxes when we receive those each year. At that point, we will have the full payment made of $875,000, which will reimburse the school lunch fund. Okay? We currently, for the first quarter, want to do a report for the first quarter of the 25-26 school year. We made payments of $25,000 on July 29, July 25, August 29, and October 1st for the months of July, August, and September, for a total repayment at this point of $75,000. And I've also attached a copy of the general ledger, which, excuse me, the top one is the school lunch fund, and it shows where it has received $75,000, and then below that is the, where the money came out, a transfer out of general fund into transfers in school lunch fund. Secondly, just as a replay of the revenue anticipation notes that were approved by the bond commission this past Thursday, we did receive, or we will receive delivery of the $1.5 million from Capital One Bank on October 23rd, directly from the Madison Parish School Board depository account. A separate fund will be set up for those funds and transfers made as needed to the appropriate fund. We have a considerable amount of bills to be paid that have been collecting over time. We'll present that to you as we get those bills caught up. And then, of course, the making payroll, we've got a payroll due for we'll pay out on the 24th as our regular monthly payroll, and then the 31st again, the one-time stipend. Future draws, I'll come to the board at the point that we're getting close to needing a future draw, present that to you. We'll be looking at each month cash balances in all the funds at the finance committee meeting, which will also go out to all board members at that time. So you'll be kept abreast of the amount of funds in each of our checking accounts. We will be consolidating some of those checking accounts. We have multiple accounts. We have a master bank fund, which is a collection of many, many funds, but it's kept separately. The bookkeeping is done separately. So the funds are in the same checking account, but they're kept separately, so we know at any point what the balance is in each fund, what's been expended in each fund, what revenues are coming in for each fund. And then we have a multiple amount of just little separate accounts here and there that we will be moving to the master bank fund. And as we do that, I'll present that to you, what we're doing and what we're moving, give you the basic details on that. So that'll be coming also. Again, the borrowing is a 5-year commitment from Capital One, but we'll go back each year. We'll have to go back to the bond commission each year, be sure they approve us moving forward. First year, we'll just pay interest. Following that, we'll reduce our principal each year and also pay interest until it's completely paid down. We have the 4.85% interest rate for the first year, and then it will fluctuate based on the market following that. The next thing I wanted to mention to you is, the position reductions that we discussed at the board meeting, on October 2nd, have been implemented. Letters have gone out and those reductions have been implemented. The budget reductions, along with those previously made through the RIF that was done, will be explained to the board in a budget that we will be doing as a revision in our December board meeting. So, that's all I have, unless y'all have questions.
Questions from the board? Discussion, any discussion from the audience? Thank you, Ms. Davis. You have no superintendent report right now.
No, she just stated that
Yeah,
you have a
that's right.
personnel report.
Okay. Can we go to item J? We're gonna get a motion, it's the, regular session to go into executive session.
Is the party here involved in that, apparently?
Yeah, they do.
And they understand about executive session,
Right.
you want to take the matter to be considered an executive session.